Why won't he get a vasectomy? We are both in our late 30s and have no interest in children. I have been on birth control for most of my life, but it started having worse and worse effects both physically and mentally. So I stopped taking it over a year ago. We talked about him getting a vasectomy and he said he would, but has done nothing. I periodically bring it up and he gets angry every time. Says he will do it. And then once again nothing happens. I'm at my wit's end here. I have a black cloud of anxiety hanging over my head 24/7 and he could do a fairly easy, much easier than the hell that women have to put their bodies through thing to 100 remove this stress from my life forever. But he won't actually do it. What do I do? Why won't he do it? Is it pure laziness? Tonight I told him that it's beginning to feel disrespectful. He said it's not disrespectful and then tried to change the subject. I'm about to just move into a different bedroom and have no sexual contact. I can't control what he does. But I guess I can control my response to what he does. Any personal experiences with this? Edit just to add and reiterate 1,000 times. He does not want children. I don't know if it will help him to hear from another snip dude. But it's a very easy procedure. My sack felt a little tender for a few days afterward and that was it. I was told to prepare for discomfort for around 8 or 9 days. It was barely half that. And after that I didn't notice anything. Saved my wife a lot of BS with birth control and we got to enjoy worry-free boinking. If he just rips the bandage off and gets it done, he'll wonder why he ever waited. I told my husband sex only with condoms until he got a vasectomy. He got one pretty fast. A lot of men fear health interventions of any kind. He needs to sit down and do some research. My snip was SUUUPER easy. Outpatient. 20 minutes. Local only. It seems to me that he's not mentally ready. Which is why he tries to change the topic and gets mad whenever you bring it up. He's either not sure if he wants children or not. Or he just doesn't want to go through the procedure due to fear. Just my opinion. I feel like I'm always giving the same advice in this subreddit. If he wanted to, he would. I have no idea what his reasons are for not doing it. But I do know that if he wanted to get a vasectomy, he'd get one. In my personal experience, he didn't want to get a vasectomy because he had planned to leave me eventually, which he did. And he thought his future wife might want children. She did. In my personal experience, he wanted to keep his options open for Ms. Right. I was nothing more than Ms. Right now. Stop having unprotected sex with him. He has no reason to get the vasectomy if you are continuing to do what he wants. All I'm saying is that if you have to resort to no sexual contact, is this really a man worth your time? He obviously doesn't want one. Once you accept that, you can make the decision you need to make. Just know that if you keep fucking him, he has no incentive to do something he's shown you multiple times he doesn't want to do. He's fine with you having physical or mental issues, or, alternatively, being pregnant when you don't want to be, or getting an abortion. He's fine with any and all of that. Why would he? In his mind he gets no benefit, only pain, and that is if he doesn't secretly want kids. He still gets to have sex with you without it? Well, then there is your answer. Stopping your ongoing pain and suffering is not worth it for him to suffer a few moments. He gets very little benefit and apparently has little enough empathy to not want to do it for you. You agreed. And until you have it done, I won't have sex with you. He will have it scheduled in a week. Because as a society we have decided to make it the woman's problem, even though it takes two to make a baby. As another child-free woman, it's a deal breaker, and perhaps not surprisingly I don't have much luck dating. Haha. I would just dump this guy. He had every right to refuse a vasectomy. But you also have every right to refuse to take birth control and refuse sex because of that. Either he does wants kids or has a huge fear of a minor inconvenience. You don't get to decide that he gets the surgery. But you also don't have to accept that contraception depends on you. Best you can do is help him understand that it isn't a big deal. And then, you may just want to tell him you're going off birth control either way. And won't be having sex without condoms if you're comfortable with that, or him getting a vasectomy. That lets you do only what you're comfortable with, and leaves the vasectomy his choice. But I bet it will light a fire under his ass real quick. He is refusing to talk about it, and that is not okay. If he wants to tell you he is not going to do it, that is one thing. Otherwise he needs to tell you what is going on, as he obviously agreed to do it and it affects both of you. Leaving you in limbo is extremely disrespectful. Pin him down and don't accept his deflections. If he refuses to discuss, then have your response in place as if he outright refused to do it. Condoms and spermicide. Reduced PIV. Whatever is your real response to him saying he will never do it. OFC, it's his body and his choice. But at the same time, it feels very fair to not want to have sex for fear of pregnancy. You'll be the one who has to suffer through that if it happens. Is he open to using condoms instead? Time to use condoms, no skipping until he actually makes a decision on it. And go from there. TBH with his attitude over it, I'd likely cut sexual contact until he at least has a convo with you about it. Especially if he doesn't want you to get a tubal. Something here's a bit hinky. All this aggression might be masking some underlying feelings he just won't talk about. Another guy who had the V-snip when he was younger here. I remember a lot of other guys asking about things like change in SX drive. Nope. Eric TN difficulties, never noticed any. Pain, yes. For a few days cold packs and mild painkillers were enough basically. They were just afraid of the unknown. They didn't know what might happen to them. I was no less of a man after the snip, which seemed to be the biggest worry. And not having to worry about safe days, or remembering pills, or running out of rubbers, meant that we could be more relaxed and spontaneous. It was worth it. Go off birth control and stop having sex with him. See how long it takes him to get that minor surgery. I haven't read all of the comments. Just your post. I am an older guy in his late 50s. I did my vasectomy decades ago and never looked back. My wife had complications from hormonal BC and we already had one child. If he is really committed to not having kids, a vasectomy is a short and easily recoverable operation. Do you use condoms instead of hormonal birth control at least, or is he just expecting you to suffer endlessly? I was in a similar situation. Over 6 years together. He had a child from his teen years and insisted that he didn't want any more but wouldn't entertain a vasectomy. Years after we broke up, I heard that he said that he had always hoped for a second chance to be a father and do it the right way. If he'd admitted that to me, I would have ended the relationship much sooner. You're off both control pills and he refuses to have surgery. You're both in a deadlock situation. Just as he can't force you to go back on hormones or get surgical implants. You can't force him to get a vasectomy. Clearly you're not sexually compatible with this person. And I'm really side-eyeing his not interested in kids stance. I'm willing to bet that's not actually true.